impressions of the new linemen coming in?
Yeah, they look good. We'll see once we kind of get rolling here, especially once the pads come on this camp. So, but yeah, they've come ready to work. All the rookies, they seem to have good attitudes and, you know, just excited to be here and excited to help out in any way that they can.
How do you go about, Adam, kind of with the rookie guys deciding what's their best position up front without, you know, sort of overloading them with the playbook by having to play multiple spots?
You kind of start them slow and, you know, this is where you were familiar in college or anything like that where you can just get them going. And then if they show that they can handle more, then you kind of build that up. So that's kind of how I've always done it, is just introduce them in a spot and then assess as you go along if they can handle multiple positions.
We've asked a lot of guys about Christian, but the other two receivers you picked seem to have some dynamic and stuff to them. What do you think you have in either of those two guys?
I think with all those guys, with Romeo and Samari, they are going to be versatile. I think they can play multiple positions. So I'm excited to kind of see, you know, obviously it's extremely early right now, but I'm excited to kind of see just like that, where give them a spot and then see if they can handle that and then some more. But I think they're going to add some versatility to the room.
Back to the versatile lineman thing. I assume every team covets that, but maybe you to more of an extent than other teams maybe. Where did that philosophy come from of maybe not just being tackle, but?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of comes from worst case scenario, kind of planning for the worst. And it's just basically trying to be prepared for things that can happen. And, you know, 2019, we really didn't have to dig into our depth that much. We had pretty much a starting five that played the entire season. And then 2020 and 2021 is a little bit different story. So it's just kind of making sure you're getting the guys ready for the worst. And, you know, once you get the right kind of guys in the room, every single guy prepares to be a starter. And then once their number's called, it's not that big of a transition.
It seems to be an organizational priority, but from a personal standpoint, what has these last two seasons kind of taught you? Has that kind of doubled down on it even more? Just needing versatility?
Just the importance of depth across the entire team. You know, it's really important to the standard that we have to make sure we can uphold that standard. And every guy on this team knows that. So they take responsibility for it, and they do a great job kind of handling that.
With linemen, is there any way to tell whether a guy is capable of playing early before you get the pads on, or do you just have to see him in pads?
Yeah, you can kind of tell if they can handle the assignments. You know, they're on top of who they need to block and what their pass protection assignments are and just the overall scheme. But then once you get the pads on, that's when you can really see if they're physically ready to play. So that's kind of, you got to assess the mental side, and then you can assess the physical side once you get rolling into real football.
Steno, I teased you from the sideline for looking a little lost.
Yeah.
I know, you know, you had a funny retort, but is it a process to kind of figure out, you've been running offensive line drills for so many years, and now you turn that over to Luke. How do you kind of figure out exactly how you want to coordinate the offense and what kind of your role?
Yeah, it's kind of, you know, when you get an ability to take a step back and see it more from a big picture aspect, it's kind of cool because you get to watch other positions coach. You get to see things from different angles that you really didn't get to see before because I was so busy coaching the offensive line. So it's been fun just working with other positions, sitting in position meetings of other coaches and listening to them go. So it's been really beneficial for me, just from a holistic standpoint of the offense.
Are your nights a little longer?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, they are, but it's been good. It's been fun.
Was that useful to be out there as a group of coaches for the rookie camp on the grass, just to get a feel for logistically how you all want to do things? Because there's a bunch of guys there.
Yeah, it definitely helps. You know, kind of like preseason games where you can just get out there and go through the motions a few times and work the kinks out. So yeah, I think that definitely helps.
If I saw it right, at least the first day of rookie camp, you were over with the 7-on-7 guys.
Yeah.
And Luke and what were you what are you looking for? I know, so again, it's just a rookie camp, but from a drill standpoint, like, what are you watching when you're at the 7-on-7 side of it?
Just basically, again, assessing if these guys can line up the right way, you know, if they can come off the ball with confidence and run the correct routes and stuff like that. So it's just kind of assessing their mental capacity to handle the offense. I think that's the most important thing.
When was the last time you watched a 7-on-7?
Yeah, it's been a while. I know. I was. They were making fun of me about that a couple weeks ago. But yeah, it's been a little. There's been some time since I've watched a 7-on-7.
Hey, Adam, going back to the receivers for a second, what excites you most about Christian, and just with his skill set and what he did at North Dakota State coming over here?
Yeah, I mean, his combination of size and speed is great. You know, he's a big guy. He can move. He's going to be a problem, you know, once he figures things out. So I'm excited about that. And even like Christian, he handles himself the right way. Ever since he showed up, he's come in with a great mindset, intelligent, and just ready to learn. So that's probably his most best attribute right there, is just his willingness to really absorb what you have to say and improve on it. So I'm excited about that. And then, was that just Christian, your dad? Okay, yeah, sorry.
What is the biggest area you want to see him improve in, even if it's just from rookie camp to other years?
I think just handling the adjustments of, you know, the nuances of plays, you know, where to line up in different formations. You know, it may be the same formation, but it's a route concept where you got to adjust, where you got to line up, adjusting to different coverages, stuff like that. It's just stuff that takes time, and it takes reps, and it takes guys messing up and learning the hard way. There's really no easy way to do it. So that's just all stuff he's going to have to work out as he progresses. So I'm excited about that.
Hey Adam, are you still a long ways away from trying to figure out how you want to utilize Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon, you know, in tandem, just on a little bit, you know?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We've had, you know, you've seen it the last few years. We've had packages with those guys on the field at the same time. And you have to. Anytime you have two playmakers like that, you got to get them on the field and you got to get them the ball. And I think once you can do that, you really can threaten defenses in a lot of different ways. So we're always excited to put those two guys on the field and do a bunch of different stuff.
So obviously, the opener is still 4 months away or whatever. But, you know, going into last season, even though you had the off season of the COVID year, you guys were all in your same spots. You could hit the ground with, you know, Hackett had been here forever. You guys have all been together for so long. How do you guys kind of view the next 4 months of making sure that all of you, starting with Matt on down, get to where you want to be offensively?
Yeah. I think the preseason is going to be very important, kind of like how it was our first year, where it's just everyone's learning kind of their role and what is expected of them and stuff like that, not only on game day, but as the week goes through to prepare for game day. So there's going to be, you know, guys wearing different hats, which will be great. I'm excited about our staff, and we have a lot of really intelligent guys that, you know, do a really good job. So it's just kind of what we talked about earlier, just working the kinks out and figuring it out. But yeah, you talk about it early. Here's the plan. This is what we're doing. And then it's kind of tweaking it as you go along with that.
What's an Adam Stenavich offense going to look like? I mean, not so much like play calling and all that, or what John do. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously Matt has a say too, but you know, Hack had his style. What's your style?
Speed and physicality. I think that's the biggest thing. You want to see physicality up front. You want to see guys coming across the ball. You want to see us attacking the defense across the entire field. And I think the best offenses in the league, they play fast, they stretch the field, they run the ball. So those are the big things right there that I hope we can hang our hat on.
So what's been your approach with Luke? Have you tried to let him do his own thing?
Yeah.
Is that important to you?
Yeah, I think, you know, you always hate it as a coach if you have someone looking over your shoulder and kind of doing that stuff, and he does a great job, and I really, you know, I just kind of want to let him have his voice in the room and just do his thing. And I know the guys are learning a lot, and they're having a blast, so it's been good so far, and I think eventually I'll work my way back in there, but I think right now it's important for me to be kind of with the other position groups and kind of absorbing all that.
Anybody in particular you've spoken with, or any advice that stuck out from people who've been through this before, going through moving coordinator, just what it's gonna be like?
Yeah, I think a lot of guys, that you talk to that have made this step is, just always be open to new ideas. Don't micromanage like we just talked about. I think that's the biggest thing, is just trust your guys and just listen. And I think that's the most important thing, not only to your coaches, but to your players as well. It's one thing that Matt and Nathaniel always did a great job of, is just listening to what the players had to say and kind of implementing things that could enhance their play.
You mentioned the preseason earlier. Do you think Matt might have you call a game in August?
Yeah, that's a possibility. I think, that could definitely happen, which would be great.
Do you think that it can be a little hard for these young guys to learn without Aaron being in the building yet? I mean, whether that's different cadences or whatever?
Yeah, there's some nuances, but I don't think it'll be that big of a learning curve what'll set us back. I think it'll actually help us in the long run with Jordan getting a bunch of reps, all these, reserve guys getting more reps, where they can learn the foundation, and then once Aaron enters in, then we can hopefully get rolling a little bit faster. So I think, there's pros and cons to it, but I think it's not going to be that big a deal.
Time for two more.
Are you practicing play calling now?
Yeah. So, like in the different periods, doing that stuff, and it's been fun.
So have you done it at any level, at any point?
Not like as the full-time play caller, no, but in a lot of different situations, yes.
I know Hackett had play calling experience in his past, so did Matt give you a half, or I feel like maybe he did?
Yeah, I've done that like last preseason and stuff like that, so the Pro Bowl, I don't know if you can call that a game, but that was fun.
What, that's not real football?
Yeah, at the end it was. At the beginning, not so much.